Hi, I'm Shill. It's another Tea Talk Friday. Today, I have some Earl Grey, a little bit of almond milk. So, I've had quite a few people who wanted to talk about habit loops when I brought up last time. The subject of habit loops is a really complicated, in-depth discussion. It's something I really need to break down across probably a few videos. So today I want to start simply by just talking about what a habit is, why you need it, how to go about building toward a routine, a habit in pursuit of goals, specifically as a writer. I would like to start off with a truism I found. One tends to not excel to the quality of their goal. They tend to fall to the quality of their habits, of their system for accomplishing their goal. If all that was needed for you to accomplish your goal was to have a lofty, great goal, then every Olympic athlete would have a gold medal. Every guy who's ever hit the gym wanted to look like The Rock would look like The Rock. Every person who ever wanted to write the next great American novel would have a career likened to Stephen King. Quality of the goal tends to not be a good determiner on whether or not one achieves that goal. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have lofty goals. You should have concrete goals that you're aiming for. What I'm saying is write down your goal, then put it aside. You don't have to focus on it. It's kind of like when you're driving in a car, and I think this is the old Neil Gaiman quote, it's foggy out. At night and it's foggy, you have your headlights on, you can only see about 8 feet in front of you, but as long as you stay on that road and keep driving, only seeing about 8 feet in front of you at a time, you'll eventually get to the end of the road. I sort of want to treat achieving our goals like that. So, you will never excel to the quality of your goal. You will always fall to the quality of your system. And this is really where I think most people hit the wall and they don't get unstuck ever. They wake up every morning with this goal of, I'm going to write 2,000 words. I'm going to finish this book. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But they have no actual system, an ingrained daily habit that'll see them through it. What you get is a lot of people who wait for motivation. I've heard this argument from people that I love, respect, and even like quite a bit, that they'll only write when they are enraptured in motivation, and they feel like when they don't have that innate motivation, everything they make is shitty. And that's no judgment on them, but that is not the mindset one needs to be in to actually accomplish something and to formulate structured systems for accomplishing things. If you only write when you're motivated, then you will only accomplish something a few times a week, a month, a year. Maybe you sit down to write once a month, once a year, whenever you feel like it, and that's not accumulating any momentum toward the finishing of a goal. I read in Stephen Pressfield's The War of Art, the second part of his book was entitled Going Pro, and he labels about this mindset of what it is to go pro in your field. And his field is writing. It has to do with a mindset shift between what he calls the amateur and the professional. The amateur waits for motivation to sit down and get work done. The professional has an ingrained habit of getting up, putting in their work, an input or output based matrix, whatever works for you. But either way, they're putting in their work, and then they retire from their work. Pretty much the same time every day. They do it every day. This is the Stephen King method of he gets up at 8 o'clock, makes a cup of tea, writes 2,000 words, eats lunch, walks his dog, and watches a Red Sox game. I mean, that's been his life apparently for like 40-something years of writing. And it's very efficient, and you get stuff done. But that is entering into a professional mindset. The opposite of that is what would be called an amateur mindset. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being an amateur. The Greek root word in the word amateur means one who does for the love of it. And there's nothing wrong with only doing something for the love of it. But what it means is you will only do that thing when you feel love in it, motivation. And there's nothing wrong with being the amateur who only does something for the love of it and when they feel inspired to do it. However, this can directly conflict with your goal. So you have to ask yourself, what is your goal? and is staying in an amateur mindset and with amateur systems for accomplishing something conflict with you accomplishing that goal? If it does, you need to change your system, because you will fall to the quality of your system, not rise to the quality of your goal. If it turns out that your goal is to just write when I feel like writing, to not write when I don't feel like writing or whatever, then you don't have a problem. You shouldn't be watching this. You're great. Fine. You've got it figured out for yourself. No value judgments. There's no one right way to be. There's no one right goal to have. But if your goal is to accomplish said book in said time and to sell it to said market, you need to have the shift into the professional mindset. And the professional mindset incorporates a system of professional habits. And the first goal of professional habit says that motivation is bullshit. You can't wait to feel motivated, you just gotta do it. How do you do it? Cognitive behavioral scientists tell us that to formulate a new habit, on average, you must repeat an action 30 times. I think I've said this before, but that's both a good thing and a bad thing. It means if you repeat a good habit 30 days in a row, it'll probably become really ingrained and hard to break. But if you do a bad habit 30 days in a row, it becomes a bad habit that is hard to break. And when you start increasing how often you repeat a habit, it becomes ingrained. There is a compound interest on habits, meaning if you've been doing a bad habit of procrastinating for 20 years, the likelihood of breaking out of that isn't super great. It's possible, but it's going to be really hard. It's really hard to break a habit of procrastination that's been going for years and years and years at a time. You can do it, and it will take 30 days of rewriting it, and you will possibly have to keep coming back to your new habit and establishing it and repeating it and starting over and fighting the resistance every day, fighting resistance, because procrastination is resistance. So how do we start this? My advice, and what I've seen really kind of works, is to do the most stupidly easy thing you can do every day. What is the bare minimum you can do toward your goal starting out? Like, I see a lot of people shoot themselves in like the foot because they're like, well, I want to write this great book. And what they do is set up, well, I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning and I'm going to write 2,000 words. I'm going to finish this book in 2 months. I'm going to edit it in a week. And it might sound stupid, but I suggest starting off with the simplest thing that you would feel like an idiot if you could not accomplish it. Say you wake up, you sit down at your computer for 5 minutes. You don't have to write. You don't have to do anything. You just have to sit there for 5 minutes, and then you can get up and continue on your day. The question would be, but Maggie, you didn't write that day. No, because the point is to start the habit of you coming into your workspace and declaring it a personal, professional workspace. You are in the habit of entering a professional workspace as a writer every day. It's about compound interest on a habit. The second day, you come in and you sit down for 5 minutes, but you write something. Third day, you come in, you sit down for 10 minutes and write something. And you do it at the same time every day until it is your ingrained habit and you can do it without thinking. It just happens. It's muscle memory. You walk in and you're turning the computer on and you're sitting down. And eventually you work your way up to whatever is that ideal time block you're looking for, whether you want a 2-hour, 3-hour writing session in that professional time block. And it becomes your system. And after about 30 days, it is your ingrained system for doing something. You've now entered into a professional mindset. This is your professional space. It is sacred. You have a ritual around how you begin your workday. Personally, I remember a few days ago being really tired in bed and being like, oh, I'm not gonna make my bed today because I'm tired. I'm just gonna roll out and go get some coffee. As I was getting up, I was already pulling the blankets up and fluffing pillows. It was completely on muscle memory. I have made my bed so many times in a row for so many years, I don't have to expend any energy mentally to doing it. My body just does it automatically as I exit my bed at this point. And it's looking for how can you automate your writing habit. Automate your ritual for a professional sit down. Reality, the resistance and procrastination is caused by the expenditure of mental energy. So if you can automate something in your mind, the action of it, you are no longer spending any mental energy on it. And if you're no longer spending mental energy on it, you don't get the resistance from your brain, because your brain wants to reserve calories, it wants to reserve energy, and it will view you trying to go do this thing that has nothing to do with your survival as you wasting energy. But your brain is very good at doing things automatically that it has repeated over time automatically, and it expends no mental energy toward doing these knee-jerk things. You probably have plenty of things in your life you do just knee-jerk. You ever drive to like work or drive to the store and don't remember driving there? It can be like scary, but that's actually, you're so used to driving, so used to taking the same routes that it's on muscle memory. You just went there. Your brain checked out. Your brain spent no energy on that process. You get up in the morning, you go to the bathroom, you make your coffee. If you have these patterns, they just happen automatically without you having to think about it. So how can you take your writing habit and include it into these habit loops that you do automatically just through muscle memory? And that's kind of, I think I want to talk about that in my next video when I make it. The idea of a habit loop and how you can stack habits to where one habit leads to the next habit, leads to the next habit, to where you can just start stacking healthy habits on top of each other and overall improve the system. Because in the end, it's about improving your system. Because again, repeat it a million times, one does not excel to the quality of the goal, they fall to the quality of their habits, the quality of their systems. Everything you have in life is the accumulation, delayed reaction, compound interest of the habits you have kept. Your physical fitness, your finances, your professional life are the compounding interest of all your habits. It is the delayed result of the habits you have built throughout the years. So why can't your writing habit be the same? And people get a little like frustrated, like, oh gosh, I'm accomplishing things too slowly. And so I bring back the concept of compound interest on your habits. 4% of 100 is only 4, but then you add that 4 to that. What's 4% of 104? Add that all together, and 4% of that, and 4% of that, and it compounds and it expands exponentially as time goes by. And that is what your writing habit does if you do it consistently on a regular basis. This is what every habit does. You want to get in the habit of going to the gym every day? Set up a habit, I'm going to go to the gym for 5 minutes on a Friday. I just have to show up. And eventually that builds into, I'm going to be there for not 5 minutes, 15 minutes, and then I do a workout. And then you start adding more time to that. Then you start adding more days to it. And it eventually creates a habit of regular gym use. You can do the same for your writing schedule. This is a professional mindset. If you have a day job, you don't have to really force yourself to do it. You're used to Monday through Friday driving to the office, going to the office and doing all that stuff. You keep a professional mindset in that setting. How can you create a professional mindset in your art, your creativity, your craft? Maybe I should word it that way, a craftsman's mindset, opposed to an amateur mindset. And again, no value judgment. There's nothing wrong with doing something just for the love of it, and doing it when you feel like it. You need to ask yourself whether or not that conflicts with your goals, and if it conflicts with your goals, you need to mess with your systems. If it does not conflict with your goals, you don't need to watch this at all. You don't need to watch any habit building video. I think this video is already running a little long. I think next week I'll talk more about habits looping and habit stacking for creating that professional system for accomplishing things. And until then, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.